So let's set some goals for this year. Here are some things I would like you to think about. Hopefully, maybe you've already been thinking about these since we're a couple weeks into January. What is your revenue target for this coming year, for this year? And then I'm gonna show you how you can break that down to monthly, to your average transaction values, finding out how many leads you need, how many calls that will require. So I want you to go to your browser and put in another URL here, and that's wtmarketingpros.com/worksheet. And I'm going to bounce over there as well. So let's see, it should look like this. Are you guys able to see my screen? It has a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, I'll put the link back up there for you. wtmarketingpros.com/worksheet. So let's go ahead and start filling these fields in. Basically, the first one is the most important. What is your annual revenue goal for this year? So if that number is $1 million, then you don't have to do anything, right? If that number is 750,000, put that in the second spot, and what you'll see is the number below that will change when you hit enter tab.
I assume we can change the ticket value as well.
Yep. Change your average ticket value. Let's say that's 2,500. And basically what will happen is it will tell you then how many leads you need or how many calls you need to go on in order to hit your goal. So once you have the line 8, your annual revenue goal set in, and then your average ticket value, that'll give you how many leads per month to hit that number. But then down below, the one thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to say, well, I don't close every single lead that I get, right? That would be fantastic. But so down here, what you need to add in on line 16 is what your average conversion rate is.
For, let's say, a startup that we don't have any track record yet to figure this out, is there any, maybe input from anybody else who maybe has a little more experience in the type of market we're going for? What kind of maybe average ticket and closing ratio they might have on, like the California type shutter product line?
Yep. So specifically around shutters.
Yeah.
Where I am in Maine, I don't have a huge amount of competition, so our closure rate's quite high. But I'm sure if you live in an area like Florida, you're competing against 5 or 6 other people, so it's difficult really put a number on that.
Phil, he's up in your area. He's in Will's in Canada, right?
Yeah, I'm in Ontario, Canada, kind of like halfway between Toronto and, let's say, Detroit in the southern Ontario province. So probably similar climate as yours, I would guess. Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, I don't quote a huge amount of shutters. I mean, I quoted one yesterday, and the call I took since I've been here, I got the job. So that's a good start. But, I only shutters. I probably only quote one a month. So we don't do a huge amount of shutters.
Oh, well, one of the other partners, he's been prowling the subdivisions, and he says, like, I drive up and down, I can see through the windows, and I see a lot of shutters going in on the, the back of houses or front of houses. So we must have some market going on up here. So that's why we're trying to break into it.
Yeah.
Like, Phil, we've had a lot more sharing your average ticket value for shutters.
Yeah.
The one I just measured yesterday, what was that, Sandra? The shutter job, yeah. Probably it's quite a nice job. It's probably about 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but our normal shutter job is probably 3 to 5.
That's kind of the rough figure we had in mind, but we were just kind of guessing,
Yeah, but this particular one is a brand. Well, people just out of state moved here, and the whole house is being done. So. But yeah,
okay.
I mean,
yeah, thanks for that. That kind of confirms our suspicions. Yeah.
But then
Awesome.
if you go to Florida, that you can buy shutters down there and they're putting them in for $10-15 a square foot, which is nowhere near my market. I mean, I'm 30, 35, 40 a square foot here. So depending on what they
Okay.
choose.
So once you figure out what your conversion rate is, if it's 50%, this is the number down here in the bottom right. These are the number of leads you need to generate per month, assuming you're going to close half of them in order to kind of work your way up and hit your numbers. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right, if you go down to the bottom to the next tab, there's a couple different tabs down here. So we've also got a tab called Budget Allocations. And what you'll see is it's pulling in the number that you put in your projected revenue. It's pulling that in. And then we're kind of making some assumptions here. The industry average for marketing budget is, somewhere between 7-15%. So I just plugged in 10 as an average. You might be lower, you might be higher. With Will, with a startup, maybe you guys are going to put a little bit extra into that getting forward. But basically what this sheet does is just divides that up into a monthly budget so that you know what you should be expected to spend. And then of course it breaks it down by month as well. I did put 3 different columns here: online, offline, and repeat business. And then how much, when you put that number in, kind of how much you should be expecting to spend on each.
Hey, Will, is this being recorded so it's available to kind of rewatch again?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Good.
So the budget allocation, there's not a whole lot you have to do here. Probably the biggest piece is just you changing this marketing budget percentage if you wanted to make, if you wanted to spend less or more, and then it'll average those numbers out for you. As you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that it actually breaks it up into potential ways that you could do this: SEO, pay-per-click, any sort of retargeting that you might want to put money towards. It just gives you a really good idea of where you could put that, the marketing piece of that. The next tab at the bottom, there's 2 tabs. One is average cost per lead by source window treatments, and then there's also average cost per lead by source for awnings. So depending on which one you qualify for, the numbers are a little different, right? This is a pretty short little sheet either way. And basically what you're going to want to do here is just see if you're doing awnings, shades, repairs, what you're expecting to spend. And these numbers might be right, they might be a little bit off. If you haven't done any pay-per-click, you might not have a good idea of what that is in your particular area. So somebody like Daniel, who's in New York City, it's going to cost them a little bit more to get a lead from pay-per-click, things like that, than it might be for Phil, who's in Maine and has a huge area with less competition, right? So this is a good one just to kind of keep an eye on over time. If you're not doing pay-per-click, these numbers might not be that good to you. But the idea here is to know how much am I spending to get each lead. If I go all the way back to my first sheet and I know that I need 50 leads, and my average cost per lead in this case is $25, then I know I need to spend $12.50 a month to get those 50 leads. The last tab down at the bottom, actually, I think there might be more. There might be 2 more. A marketing calendar. And this is just an idea for you guys to kind of have a little bit extra value, just some ideas on things that you could do throughout the year around all of these different platforms: pay-per-click, email, social media, SEO, and they're kind of tied to events, like we've got April. Maybe do something around spring cleaning. June is go green, or motorization, things like that. Obviously, October is a little bit towards bad stories, right? Before and afters that didn't go so well, maybe that you can find online, things like that. And then of course, things around the holidays as well. So just some really good ideas on different ways that you can promote as you go through the year. This is a good little sheet just to kind of go back and reference as the year goes on. And then tied to that, some potential specials that you could run that are tied to those same events. So like spring cleaning, maybe you do 25% off all cleaning if that's something you do, right? 25% off power washing or whatever those kind of maintenance things that people are tending to do early in the year. Any questions about this sheet?
No.
I know I'm dumping a lot on you guys.
I have a question actually.
Okay.
The page of, hold on, the budget allocations, right?
Yep.
So, I'm a little like fairly new into this type and, it's my first year in this business.
Okay.
And as I learned over the past year, how every month, we do tend to see a rise of customers. And then some months, we see, less customers. And obviously there's like certain times of the year, like around Christmas time and the holidays where we start, getting more leads. So my question to you is how, like I understand that this is allocating the different budgets every monthly, but I see it's all equal. Wouldn't it make sense around, the October, November time to start putting more money into advertising for the holiday season? And, also, for spring cleaning around, the March time, where spring is, beginning. So I just want to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. When I made this sheet, obviously it just divides by 12 and does it kind of a blanket across the board. But it would be good to kind of mess with these numbers. And I think if you start to mess with these, it's gonna break the whole sheet, right? If you start breaking them in, because it's gonna break the formulas that are behind it.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be good. That'd be something good to do. Maybe something around the marketing calendar, or something where you say, okay, maybe it's here. We want to do a plus 5%, and then work backwards from this and say we want to add extra budget, these times of year. I think that might be a good exercise too. Is there some extra budget you want to add in certain months, and then kind of tie that into this sheet? Obviously, it's not built that way right now.
Yeah.
But I love that idea. That's pretty smart. We have clients that do this huge push in October until November 15th, and then they're done right until January 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, I mean, December for them is a zero when it comes to any sort of paid ads, anything like that. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I'll actually play with this and see if there's a way to kind of add budget one month, pull it off another month, and really kind of start tweaking those numbers a little better.
Sure.
Yeah, in Colorado, we're very slow this time of year. So we got 3 months off every year, it seems like.
Yeah.
Actually, 4.
Yeah. And the other side of this too is those 3 months that you have off could be, as in your case, what you did do is this is a really good time to start making a push towards spring, right? When spring hits, we're going to be in a pretty good spot. So it's not always just pulling those numbers back to zero during those 3 months. Maybe it's the opposite, right? Or just putting that effort towards something different.
Well, normally this time of year we do home shows, but they stopped all those in Denver because of virus.
And those home shows take a pretty good budget, I guess, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Get your name out there. People see you. Oh, I seen you at the home show last year. You don't set a lot of leads at home shows, but people name recognition, So and it's very pricey.
Yeah, they can be. So, All right, hopefully everybody was able to kind of get some numbers plugged in and give you kind of an idea of where you want to be for this year.